Everything is working. Oh yeah. Hope we're live. Hope we're live. Oh yeah. Ha 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 ha. There we go. Right, cool. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to this stream where I thought I would have a little bit of a natter about the match that we had against Wolves. Now, we know that the game against Wolves ended up going very, very well. Nice little 3-1 win, and it gives us plenty of momentum for the rest of the season. However, I thought I'd have a little bit more of a chat about how we won that game, why we won that game, and some of the steps that need to be taken to make sure that we win the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and eventually we get those 10 wins that we quite badly need and get into a safe position. But before we do so, I'm just going to do the standard sort of YouTuber plea and say, if you fancy it, pop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Be absolutely wonderful, and I massively appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anyway, so going to run through the match a little bit by little bit. Kickoff happened, and Leeds United came out of the gates looking reasonably good. Ended up getting Goodmanson in a very nice position, high on the left-hand side, fires in a cross, and no one is on the other end of it. Which I thought, cool, okay. So my pre-match preview, the entire thing was get around the sides of them and cut the ball in, because that is how you beat this team. That's how this team have been beaten repeatedly, and that's how this team will continue to be beaten. And we did it, except no one was in the box, which was a bit spooky. I was like, okay, hopefully we managed to actually do something here. Hello there, Mr. Paul Brody. But it's fine, we keep working, we keep going, and then we conceded a goal. It wasn't a great goal to concede either, because we got sort of carved open. Stroke followed his man across, Rodon then followed as well, which meant that there was nobody marking the centre of the pitch. Longstaff lost his man whilst tracking back, and the issue continued to spiral and be not good, which wasn't fantastic, but it ended up being basically fine because of what happened after that. I'm doing alright, thank you, folks. I didn't do any streams or anything this weekend. Mainly because A, I was watching the match when it was on, but B, I had work. I had quite a lot of work. It added up to something like 20 hours over the 2 days, so I didn't really have that much chance to do anything else. I'm here, Leeds fan, over to you. Thank you very much, Catch Promotion. I was hoping it would be over to me anyway, but we'll keep on rolling. Then we get to the first of the 3 Leeds United goals, and it was a very, very, very nice goal to score. It was one of those where you see it and you're like, oh, I don't think we could have done that again on purpose if we tried. Where Jayden Bogle, a really nice floated cross in, lands perfectly on the bonce of Calvert-Lewin. And this is where, for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin fixed a lot of the fears that people have around him. A lot of people took a look at Calvert-Lewin and sort of went, well, we don't know if he's of the standard anymore, there's a reason he was released, all this kind of stuff. And we need to acknowledge that the reason he was released was the injury past. Because it's a fairly significant injury history that he's got. But, for him to have a lot of injuries doesn't remove the fact that he's a ridiculously good player on the pitch. And we saw that by that nice little guided header that ended up just nestling its way into the corner of the net. Very, very nice to see. Lovely, cushioned. Brought us on level pegging terms. Which is nice. We like being on level terms. And then we got one of my favourites, right? Very Nordic jumper, like a Finnish ukulele player in a folk band. Hello, Scooby-Doo. I will take ukulele player in a Finnish folk band. As things to be related to go, that's not too bad. I'll have that every single day of the week. But then we got to the thing that a lot of people have been questioning for a while now, which is Anton Stack really a set-piece specialist? And I think Anton Stack very much proved that Anton Stack is a set-piece specialist, but it goes beyond that, because there's a little sneaky thing that Jer identified in a tweet that I am going to absolutely bring up, because it was fantastic. Hello, John Crawford. So if I go to the right bit, there we go. Nice little GIF. Okay? Of Anton Stack's goal, which I'm going to zoom in on. I'm going to press F11, and I'm going to go to monitor 2. There we go. So, we'll let it go to the start, and then I'll pause it. Here we are. Right, you've got 2 walls, effectively, and then the goalkeeper is able to see the ball, which is a pretty good way to set up your line as a goalkeeper. What you tend to do, more people over to the wider bit of the net, which makes complete sense. A guy guarding the near post, which again makes sense, and in the event that there is someone else here, you probably won't need further defence on that point. At this stage, your general response as a goalkeeper is, I'm going to go this direction because there's more net here, it's looking a lot more tempting. If you put it into this area here, it doesn't matter who the goalkeeper is, it's going in the back of the net. Whereas if you put it up here, odds are you're not going to try that because, well, there's a goalkeeper there and there's a wall there. It would be very silly to do. However, the set-piece coach has done set-piecing. Because look at Ethan Ampadu. Look at what Ampadu does. Because Ampadu right now is blocking not the post, but he's blocking the line outside the post. So in the event that the ball is struck well enough, the ball initially heads outside the post and curves into the net. Ampadu leaves his position, which means that now that just outside the post line completely opens up, giving him a perfect route here into the back of the net. Goalkeeper, you can see that this leg is slightly more lowered than this leg, which means that he's wanting to go in this direction, as you do. But he sees the ball go. And his weight having been in completely the wrong place means that he isn't able to react properly to this. This guy, nothing he can do about it because the path of the ball goes to where Ampadu previously was. And the goalkeeper can't really do much either. And to be fair, it's a hell of a finish, ending up effectively in the top corner anyway. And the keeper nearly gets a hand to it. It's deliciously accurate. It's beautiful stuff. And when you put it all together, that is a goal that comes not only from Stack, who, let's be honest, brilliant free kick. Massive fan of it. He's basically smashed that. But it also comes from Ampadu, who knows that his role in that situation is make sure that there is a route to that top corner. Because if he can make sure that there is a route to the top corner, beautiful. In addition to that, he's made advantage of the fact that, well, there's a rule that says you can't be within 2 yards of the wall. This isn't a wall. This is just a dude. And you can't have two walls, because at that point you could basically say every single player that we've got on the football pitch at this free kick is their own individual wall. And you need to stay outside of 2 yards of every single one of our players, which would be the stupidest way to defend a free kick you've ever seen. But this way, stunning. It just works. And I was a massive fan of that, and I'm very, very glad that it worked. I've just realised I'm not quite central. There we go. I'm drinking the DCL Kool-Aid. I think I might be as well. It takes a while, he doesn't power. It's placed nicely with pace, but you should save it. Maybe Stack's good at shooting from free kicks, but I still want him in the box for a corner. I mean, but he was in the box for the corners, right? So if I take a quick look at FBref to pull that up, go to Leeds United and our most recent match. I'm going to see who took more of the corners, because I'm a little bit curious. It'll be pass types, won't it? Did we have no corners in that match? Because that's incredible. Did we not get a single corner? Oh my god, we didn't have any corner kicks. That's fun. Yeah, I don't think we can hugely have a complaint about the set piece taking in that match, because there wasn't any. There was one, and it was that one, and it went perfectly well. So that's all good. Postman Stack. I like that one. Commentator for Match of the Day was giving off Partridge vibes when the free kick went in. Were you moonlighting? I wish I could get paid to do football commentary, but that's not quite the world that I'm living in at the minute. It's the dream, but it's not the reality. And then we got to goal number 3, which was Okafor's. And this is why I'm quite happy with something that a lot of people aren't. And that is the whole playing Brendan Aronson on the right thing. And I know a lot of people look at that and they go, we could do with more attacking options out there. And it's like, yeah, sure, we could. But we scored our 3rd goal of that match via quick transition and winning the ball quickly. We won the ball quickly in the middle of the park, which admittedly wasn't won by Aronson, but it's demonstrative of why you have Brendan Aronson in those situations, because Aronson is the kind of player that wins the ball in those areas and gets the ball moving a little bit. Won by Stack, I think, and then played very, very, very quickly through to Noah Okafor, who, in the moment, I was looking at that situation and sort of going, Noah, please, just square it, just square it, just square it. And then I remembered that part of the benefit of Noah Okafor is that he is a very confident man. So there was that interview that happened a couple of weeks back in The Athletic, where he basically said, I'm going to prove to the leadership of the Switzerland national team why they need to bring me up for the World Cup. And it was like, okay, fair enough, you do you. You earn that place, go for it. And he goes for it not by being like, I'll just square it and do the sensible decision. He's just like, no, actually, I'm just going to slot this into the corner. And Jose Sarr should probably do better, but he doesn't. And that's what matters in the end. Unable to keep the ball out. And Leeds United go into half-time 3-1 up. And then we get to the part that a lot of people critiqued, the second half, because a lot of people looked at that and went, whoa, they got a lot of XG in that half. Specifically, if we compare, right? If I go to first half XG, we get 0.42, they get 1.06. Cool, they've had a couple of better chances than us, whatever. You go to second half XG, we get 0.07, they get 0.73. Because what had effectively happened in the second half of the match is we went, we're going to close this game down. We're just going to shut it. Because they got a lot of the ball. That's not something that is super deniable. That's fine. But a lot of that is us letting them have a lot of the ball. Because when it comes to the chances that they had in the second half, if I can pull up the shot map, a lot of them were opportunities that were fairly low XG. A lot of them were those chances where, if you look at it, it's not a huge chance. It's just like, if I count the XG numbers for the specific opportunities, 0.14, 0.04, 0.04, 0.03, 0.06, 0.04, 0.09, 0.24, that's a decent opportunity to be fair, 0.02, 0.02, that's it. They repeatedly got themselves into situations where they were rushing their shots. They were like, we're 2 goals down, we need something urgently. So them having a hell of a lot of possession wasn't actually that much of a threat to us, because when they were having those chances, they were having fairly bad chances. And I would rather another team have poor chance after poor chance after poor chance, rather than actively be constantly threatening. And they were 2 goals down. If it was 1 goal down, I would have effectively said, why have we just tried to end the match there? Because that's not going to work. But 2 goals ahead, you can say, cool, you got a bit of a buffer. If you concede 1, you start going at it again. And then you've had that period without the ball to rebuild your energy, rebuild some ideas, and get your opponents like a little bit off kilter. Because they're not going to be that familiar with defending after spending the last 35 minutes just going at you. And I don't mind that approach. I think that approach worked for us. I think it's an approach that landed us 3 points at the end of the day. And that's kind of all we needed to do. And after that round of fixtures in the Premier League, let's have a look at where we're at. Leeds United currently laying 12th, which is not a bad place to be. If you have a look at the opponents that we've played, we faced off against Fulham, who are currently 8th and we were unlucky to lose to. We played against Arsenal, who, yeah, we lost to, but they're 2nd in the league at the minute. Hello there, Hannibal. We beat Everton, who are in 10th, which, decent side to beat. Drew against Newcastle, and we managed to beat Wolves. So the teams that are of our level right now in the table, we've beaten. We've beaten every team that is 10th or lower, and we've gotten points from, every team that is 10th or lower, and we've lost to the teams above that. But I would argue that Fulham we were very, very unlucky to lose to in the first place, and the other one is Arsenal, and I'm going to not reflect on that one because that is the definition of an outlier. So I'm feeling pretty damn good about the season at the moment, to be honest with you, because that was a pretty damn good game. the game plan worked pretty effectively, which was hit them fairly hard on the counter. That's how we scored from Okafor's opportunity. That's how we scored from Calvert-Lewin, because that is a long ball for an assist. Annoying thing as well, right? I'm going to have to bring that up, because that irritates me quite a lot. Because I think Jayden Bogle, on SofaScore right now, has been absolutely robbed. Because from that match, he got a 6.0 in terms of rating. According to SofaScore, he was the second worst player on the pitch. You know why? Because he wasn't given the assist for the Calvert-Lewin goal. And that, for me, is criminal. Because that ball over the top was absolutely spectacular. It was a stunner. It's been taken off him. It's not counted on FB ref either. He got a card too. He did. Yeah, but it doesn't matter too much. Doesn't fit my narrative quite so well. He's not been given it on FB ref either. And I think for that to be robbed from him is sort of sad. You know? Because I think he had a pretty damn good game. Stack, for me, probably man of the match in that one. Relatively comfy, because goal, assist. The goal was an absolute stormer. And we just got to kind of hope that he keeps it up, because he responded very, very well to the criticism that he's had pretty recently. And hopefully he's able to keep responding in a way that proves a lot of people wrong. And makes me think, do I need Stack in my FPL rather than Noah Okafor? Because at the moment, I got Okafor in, and I was like, he's done really well. And my brother was like, yeah, well, I got Stack, and he got like 15 points for me last time. And it's like, oh, piss. So I might get Stack in. I'm doing man of the match for me. He's the glue. He is the glue. He's a very sticky kind of lad. But I don't know. I think Stack's earned it by bouncing back from what was a lot of critique. Wish we'd broken from the low block after 85 to get fourth. I like the thinking, but when you've been so sort of besieged, it's in that weird situation where it might be a little bit hard to justify going, okay, now we go at them again, because what happens if you open up holes, you concede one goal, and then you're like, shit. Like, if you concede when you're doing the defensive stuff, then you've got, like, a pivot point, a very specific, this is the moment that we're going to start attacking them again, and everyone's aware of it, whereas if you just say, around 85 minutes, just go again, it feels like there's nothing, like, anchoring it a little bit, and if that gets a little bit lost in translation, you're maybe causing more harm than good. I like the idea. I would have liked a fourth, but we didn't get it. And a fourth would have been really good for my FPL as well, but it wasn't to be. Unfortunately. Anyway. I had Gabby Ordala for man of the match, but I don't judge on assists. That's fair enough. Wait, why don't you judge on assists? I think that's something that needs, like, considering. Because if you're creating chances, then you've earned it, you know? In terms of subs, I think James Justin was sort of fine. Tanaka playing as, like, a really, really high 8 in the box-to-box stuff was beautiful. Jack Harrison, a little bit quiet, but for me, that was basically fine. I didn't mind that too much. Evening all, Leeds will only get better and DCL's going to score loads. I think I agree. We need to get more out of James and Nonto. I think it's tough to try and sort of critique on the James and Nonto this time. Mainly because they weren't really available. Like, James was out with, I believe, core muscle injuries. And Nonto was unavailable as well. So I'm not going to be too mad looking at this match as an example, because you were never going to get much out of him for this one. I don't think James is very fit. How dare you? He's very fit as in four. Don't mean just this match, I mean all seasons. Yeah, he's looked a little bit off it. But ideally a little bit of time out the side might be of benefit to him. Because as we know that, like, the way that Daniel Farker does things is typically long periods in the side. If you get injured or something, rotate. Don't mean his injury, DJ. I mean James hasn't been anywhere near on form. Yeah, that's fair. I think it could be a case of a little niggle or something, and if it's kept him out of it, then I don't mind it. That's okay with me. Oh dear. Blooming heck. Anyway, I'm not going to be streaming for too long right now, purely because I've got a chow mein to cook. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to do it proper styly as well. It's not going to be like let's just whack some things in a pan and call it stir fry. No, no, no. We're gonna go for it. It's gonna be fan dabby dozy. Kind of hyped for it. I'm gonna put a lot of time and effort into that boy, and then it's football for me, which is gonna be lovely jubbly. You guys know me. When I got my football on a Monday, you got to try and win, and if you can't win, then we'll see what happens. But I don't know. Anyway. And have I forgotten to talk about anything that happened in the match? Nothing immediately comes to mind. At some point during the week as well, I'm gonna, maybe on stream, I'm not certain, have a little bit of a natter with somebody on the Bournemouth side, so we can have a little bit of a chat with someone who understands sort of the shape and structure of Bournemouth's team, and we can work out exactly sort of what they're going to be doing in terms of their side, how booed Tyler Adams is going to be, which is going to be absolutely relentless. Sinistera not there anymore, which is a little bit of a shame, but it was a successful weekend all around. I only blocked 2 moaners. I don't really block folks at this point, but a lot of that might be because I kind of like knowing what the narrative is around various bits of the fan base. So if there's a lot of discussion around like, oh, I don't like this player, then it's good to know about that as someone that does YouTubey things, because if you don't know what the ongoing sort of narrative discussion is, then it's quite hard to... What the hell was that? Then it's quite hard to stay on top of it all, but I don't know. Sorry, a video auto played on like my second monitor, and it was like, shut up, stop it, behave. Happy with the left wing side, but not right. It's Aronson or Harrison, and we need a better right winger. What? How is the right Aronson or Harrison? The right is Aronson or James, which admittedly, again, we could do with a decent right winger. But I don't think it's too bad. I think Leeds should beat the Cherries and Spurs is doable. Let's have a look at the table. I think saying that we beat Bournemouth is maybe a bit on the optimistic side. They've lost once this season, and that was Liverpool in a 4-2. Since then, they've done Wolves 1-0. They've done Spurs 1-0. They've done Brighton 2-1. And they drew 0-0 against Newcastle, which is tough, I think. To say that like we should beat them is a little bit of a stretch. Like, it'd be nice, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Depends which Bournemouth and Spurs turn up. It does a bit. Spurs, however, are in third, having beaten Burnley 3-0, City 2-0, lost to Bournemouth, West Ham 3-0, and they've drew 2-2 with Brighton. So we got to hope that they're not on form, which feels a little bit unlikely. But if, as has just been mentioned by Hannah, Spurs weren't relatively robbed at the weekend, they'd currently be in second place. So the next 2 games are against third and fourth in the league as we speak. And yeah, we're at home, that's a fair point, but we can't ignore the fact that they are where they are because they've been quite good. Like, looking down the table, the club that surprises me most by where they are, and the one that feels like it's more of an outlier based on where they are at the minute, is Villa, who currently are on 3 points this season. But that is realistically because they aren't able to get those attacking returns. They've scored once all season. And once that starts to click, which it inevitably will, because no one right now is looking at Aston Villa and saying that, well, they're never going to score a goal again like they were with us. Because it will click at some point. And we got to keep an eye on that and make sure that that doesn't cause a problem for us. And we got to watch basically everywhere and see, right, okay, where are the threats? Who's going to overtake us realistically? Who from the top half is going to drop? I don't think Sunderland can keep that momentum going as much as they are right now. I think Everton might slow down a bit. Palace and Bournemouth are tricky because they're just a weird beast. And Manchester United are quite a funny one, because they're one position above us in the table by virtue of 1 goal difference. If Gudmundsson didn't put the ball in the back of our net, then we'd be above them in the table. We'd currently be 9th. We'd be above City as well. But if it weren't for the Gudmundsson thing, we'd be fantastic. But importantly, and this is a fun little fact, Manchester United have not won a game since, I can't remember when, but they've not won in the last 22, I think, unless they have had a penalty or the other team has had a red card. Which for me says that they're not going to be in the most fun of situations either, because they're a side that constantly relies on game state going in their general direction. And upcoming, they've got Brentford, who are looking not the strongest, but reasonable. And they've got Sunderland, which is going to be a test for Sunderland, to be fair. But I can see them continuing to slip. The whole league's weird, is what I'm trying to say. And we kind of need to make sure that we're on the right side of the weirdness, because if we're not, then we could cause ourselves a few more problems. I think we have a number of unpredictable sides in the Premier League this season. I'm confident Leeds will survive well. I think we're one of the unpredictable ones. I think it's quite tough to work out where Leeds are heading, to be honest. Must be the 12th man for the next 2 games, make it ferocious. I hope we do. Because if we make it a difficult atmosphere to play in, then that's going to be a happy place to be. Because we're going to cause the other teams issues. We're going to make sure that their fans are just unable to hear them, to be honest. And ultimately, we'll do that sort of bear pit thing that's going to work out. Leeds are building, finding their footing. They are, but my worry is that other sides will also be doing the same. So we need to keep building quicker than they do. Otherwise, there's a potential little bit of a threat. 12:30 kickoffs don't help. I did forget about those. Though, to be fair, that's not Bournemouth. That's just the Spurs match. And then after that is Burnley, which is going to be interesting. The run of games between this coming international break and the one after that is Burnley, West Ham, Brighton, Forest, which we can hope to pick up a decent number of points from. But if that turns into a struggle, then whatever. And then the run of games after that gets a little bit horrible. Because then it's Villa, who we don't know where they're going to be at that stage. They could be looking reasonably good. They could be absolutely knacked. Then is City away from home at 3 o'clock. Chelsea. No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. City away at 3 o'clock. Fine. Chelsea at home under the lights because it's midweek. And then Liverpool at home, 3 o'clock, Saturday kickoff. Those 3 matches are going to be painful. So the hope is we can get ourselves in the best possible space before those games. And if that doesn't work out, then that doesn't work out. But we'll find out. I hope you could think it's a win and draw in the next 2. The momentum will be with us and the confidence rises. I hope so, but Spurs and Bournemouth are good sides, and I think we need to not get ourselves in an overconfident spot, because if we get ourselves overconfident, then it's not great. Missed the Spurs game. I worked till 2:30. That's a bugger. Spurs will have played a European game. That's true. Is that true? Yes, but it's Bodo Glimt. So it's not the worst of games for them to play, and I think they play on the Tuesday as well. So they've got a decent rest. It's like championship scheduling. It's not going to cause that much of an issue for them, I don't think. Shez Bone's going to be difficult one way or another. by 14:30. We have to go to London for a gig after that. Ah, okay. Spurs played in Europe this week and rotated nicely. Yeah, they've got a decently deep squad, which I think is a bit of a concern. Don't think Leeds will be overconfident. They must find the balance with overconfidence and caution. This is true. Wouldn't complain at 1 point out of Spurs and Bournemouth, just keeping it real. Honestly, same, because that will still keep them 1 point per game. No, keep us above 1 point per game, to be honest. Does Tyler Adams get booed? Absolutely, Tyler Adams gets booed. First match of the season where he left, he put his arm around Archie Gray and was like signalling to the crowd, I'm going to mentor this guy. And everyone's like, yeah, you're going to mentor this guy and it's going to be fantastic. And then in the end, he was like, actually, what if I went to Bournemouth? To which we went, actually, Tyler, what if you went and fucked yourself? Which I think was the right response. I think was a mature response, and I think is a response that is going to carry itself through. But anyway, I am going to bring that stream to a close because I do have a Chinese to cook. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you did, I would massively appreciate you popping a like on it because the algorithm is still doing algorithm things, which is unpleasant. Subscribe if you aren't yet as well. Again, if people subscribe because of someone watching content, it pushes the content out a little bit more, which is, again, spectacular. Could even be a channel member if you like. You get videos and stuff early. It's $2.99 a month. And it's like 10p a day to make sure that I can actually keep doing this. It's lovely. And get your comments in as well, because that is also a big algorithm booster. So, hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to get eating, and I will see you all later. Toodaloo, amigos.